moving into Nebraska week, knowing what you know about this team in Lincoln, how do you think they match up against the Cornhuskers currently?
Well, I think I'd rather be taking our team in there at 7-point underdogs than being Nebraska this week, because I learned a lot about my football team last week.
Yep.
They didn't learn much about their football team. That was a 7-on-7 practice. That was that team that they beat is 1-6 against Power 5 opponents. The team we beat has 17 national championships. They have a culture of winning. Everybody that steps on that field thinks they're going to win and win big, and they're going to beat anybody they play against. That was a well-coached, really good football team we played against, talented football team, and they had a great plan against us, and they executed very well. But we had to figure some things out. We had to work that game, man. And so we had to challenge our players. We had to change the defense up. We had to do some things that Nebraska didn't have to do. So
yeah, they were sitting in the third quarter.
Right. We know more about our team than they know about theirs, is the way I look at this.
And that's fantastic, because going into Memorial, I don't know if there's a CU team that's ever been favored walking in there, but we damn sure know how to win there. I mean, they won there in 18. We won there in 04. We won there in 02. I mean, EB's famous game back in the day in the rain where he fumbled and then came back, and what was that? That was 90, right?
In 90. Yeah.
That was a famous game in Lincoln. So it's not that we haven't won there in the past. You know, just talking to Bucky at the beginning of the week and having it reiterated to the team, the Memorial is daunting, but it's also the quietest place in the country when you walk out of it a victor. So, you know, out of those victories, I know you can't pick one, but I'm telling you, in 04, when we ended that bowl streak and we got on that plane, and then we knew that they weren't going to a bowl, and we had just pretty much secured the North Division title. Is there a more satisfying dub other than 01 than that one?
Probably not. Not everybody knows that story, as you know, but the whole 04 team was a miracle team, considering everything that we went through and how we persevered against everybody, it seemed like. And we stood up, and if you remember the seminars we had and the workshops that we had with all of us, and but to come back from the dead, as they had us buried, to come back and win the North again, that was really cool. That's one of the highlights of all the years coaching. I think that was probably our best year of coaching.
All right, so let's get into these boys now. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn, they're elite. What would be your coaching critique of Shedeur Sanders right now? What could he get better at, and what is he just exceptional at?
He's exceptional at most things. What he can get better at is just realizing last week, instead of making a selfish call, and he says it was for the receiver. Okay.
But the bomb at the end of the game?
It was a very selfish move.
Yeah, it was a bad call.
Kind of stuff. You know, he's a great player, and he's got the head for it, Matt. You know, he's a bright kid. And I just think, if he wants to be like Tom Brady ain't going to make that throw. Tom Brady's going to find a way to win that game without having that kind of pressure put on your defense at the end of the game. So it's the little things like that just comes with years of experience. That you just can't take it all in 1 year. It's like drinking from a fire hose. So you get a little bit every year, and then you absorb that. And that's what he needs to do. He needs to absorb what he can absorb this year to make himself better. He's an NFL quarterback. He's got an NFL talent. He's got an NFL brain, he's an adult in most situations.
Travis Hunter, same question. I've never seen a unicorn like 12 in my life.
He's a generational player. Never seen one. Unicorn's a good word for him, but the minute I saw him the first time, and it was just at a practice, they were throwing a ball around. I've never seen a player who's got the ball skills.
It's unreal.
The intrinsic values, his instincts, his body control, all that stuff. Really, it's off the charts. I haven't seen a player. I've been doing this for 64 years, so I haven't. 64, about right. So I haven't seen anybody like him at any level. So
If you only had one place to play him, receiver or corner, where are you going? I put you on the spot. Gotcha.
Offensive coach, Matt. Where do you
There
think?
you go, baby. 3 times a game.
But those dudes are hard to find on the other side that can lock you down. So, but he's magnificent either way.
Do you think they can look? I practiced both ways in the NFL for about 3 years. I never played both ways in a game. I was dressed, and then I'd be like a reserve defensive lineman. I take a lot of pride in that, but I never played 129 out of 131 snaps before. That's insane. Is that sustainable, Coach?
Matt, you weren't a unicorn.
Thank you, Coach.
You were Matt. You are a unicorn, but not like he is. So
I'm like the mule with like the unicorn thing that's like being taped on.
Whatever. In my life, you've been a unicorn. So
I love you.
No, I think he can. I mean, he's just one of those guys that can do it. I mean, geez. And I mean, why not have the best player on offense and the best player on defense on the field every time that you line up? So
it's insane to see how good they can be. Last question about the Buffs, and then we'll talk about Nebraska a little bit, and then I got one more for you. Jordan Seaton, first left tackle in Colorado history to start as a true freshman. I thought he was, if they don't call your name and they don't say anything about you at left tackle, you did pretty good. What was your evaluation of the big man after week 1? Because I think that on the offense alone, you look around the country, I think Jordan Seaton is a top 5 pick. I think Travis Hunter's a top 5 pick, and I think Shador's a top 5 pick. If you have 3 top 5 picks on your offense, you should be kicking the shit out of people.
Well, he's not a top 5 pick yet. And
as he progresses.
You weren't listening to my broadcast because he got beat on an inside move about 3 or 4 times, and I called it. But
I love that. That's why we have Cards Barnett on the show, folks, right there. Get better, rookie.
I've also watched all of his film from the spring and from this year, and I watch him intensely every day. He's going to be a great player. He's got great ability. He's just that experience I was talking about. Yep. Right, he's drinking from a fire hose. He can only take in so much, and so he's going to have some. He's going to take in next year and some the next year. But he's you can only absorb so much as in your first year. But he's going to be a good player. I think. I don't know about top 5 pick. I don't know much about that piece of it, but he's very athletic. He's going to be a good player, and I thought overall he played pretty well the other day.
I love Coach Barnett so much. The minute I'm like, he did pretty good. He's like, they got beaten inside 3 times. That is exactly why the teams that we played on in Boulder that were led by this man, it would be like, yeah, you did your job. High five. Shut up. Do it again. Like, that's the way it's supposed to work. So, all right, a couple more here for you, Coach. The University of Nebraska, obviously, throughout history here, there's been some bad blood moments, all right? Like, some of them forced by them and some of them not. In 1990, I can only imagine how you felt when you guys opened up the paper after beating Notre Dame to win the Natty and found out that Tom Osborne was the only guy that voted against us to split the national title. That pisses me off, and I was 8. And then, in 01, I remember sitting in the banquet room after we just beat Texas and the BCS ranking came up, and they were above us, and we just beat them by 30, and we just beat Texas, who was the number 2 or 3 ranked team in the country at the time. I'm not saying we would have beat the U. That might be the best college football team I've ever seen, but I will say we would have given them a better fight than Nebraska did in the Rose Bowl. You were part of both of those things.